Just like everything's bigger in Texas, everything's more dangerous in Australia. Mostly because the wildlife there is wild. It has way more deadly animals than almost any country. In fact, only 2 countries even come close. But if we're talking about animals that actually kill humans, Australia wins without question. It has 20 of the 25 deadliest snakes, including all of the top 11. And it's also home to one of the few birds that has been known to kill people, the cassowary. Of course, it also has the classics, like saltwater crocs, great white sharks, spiders, and jellyfish. And if that's not enough, this is where some of the world's biggest bugs live. One of the only places where falling pine cones can be deadly. And where the top 3 biggest wildfires of this century have happened. The list doesn't stop there, but believe it or not, Australia today is calm compared to how it used to be. And I'm not even talking about the dinosaur age. I mean giant land lizards and massive crocs. You don't have to go that far back to find it either. Things got really wild about 50,000 years ago, right when humans first showed up. What timing, right? Back then, reptiles, not mammals, were the bosses, and anyone who arrived would quickly see. This place was not normal, because it was crawling with monsters. One of them was a croc made for land, not just something that looked like a croc, an actual one. This beast was called the Quinkana, and it ruled the land during the Pleistocene. It looked like modern crocs in some ways, and for a while was even thought to be a true croc. But its weird skull made scientists put it in its own group, along with that strange head. It had long legs unlike any other crocodile. These let it run and hold its body off the ground. Its toes were shaped more like hooves, and its flat tail wasn't good for swimming, making it fully land-based. And it wasn't small either. Most adults were 3 meters long and 200 kilograms, around the same size as a medium American gator. But some were much bigger, with one reaching 6 meters. Big enough to hunt mammals, and humans too. Getting attacked by one of these was a nightmare. Its teeth weren't just sharp. They were blade-like and saw-edged, the kind of teeth you see in dinosaurs. These let it slice through animals bigger than itself. Every bite took huge chunks of flesh, and swimming away may not help, because there's some proof it could swim too, even with all that land power. But even that terrifying croc had enemies, like the biggest lizard to ever walk on land, Megalania. You might have heard of it, it's gone viral recently, though now it's called Varanus priscus, meaning it was a giant monitor lizard. Still, people call it Megalania because that name means great roamer, which fits. This creature was massive. Scientists debate the size, but even the small ones were over 3.5 meters and weighed around 158 kilograms. That's as long as a sea lion and as heavy as a reindeer. And the largest ones? They might have hit 7.9 meters long and 2,000 kilograms in weight, nearly 2 tons. But size wasn't its only weapon. It had long, curved teeth to grip prey, and strong legs with claws to bring animals down. Just like today's monitor lizards, it might have been venomous too. Its venom would stop blood from clotting, causing shock and deadly infections. And because Komodo dragons are its closest living relative, some experts believe Megalania used similar hunting tricks. Bite once, walk away, let venom do the rest. So even if you escaped, you probably wouldn't survive. This thing was a walking nightmare, unless of course you were more afraid of snakes. Because then, your biggest problem was the Wonambi. It may sound harmless, but this now extinct snake was a giant, and it lived right alongside the Quinkana and Megalania. It wasn't like snakes today. It came from a family of ancient snakes with stiff jaws and big bodies. And the Wonambi was one of the largest. It didn't beat the biggest living snakes today, but it came very close. The biggest ones were 6 meters long, about the size of a large Burmese python. Luckily, it didn't have venom, but that didn't make it any less deadly. It likely hunted like modern constrictors, hiding near water, waiting to ambush, then wrapping around prey and squeezing, until the animal passed out from a lack of blood to the brain or heart. But here's the nightmare part. Because its head was small and stiff, it couldn't swallow big prey whole, so instead it ripped chunks off its victims, even pulling their insides out. And some experts think early Australians were more likely to be killed by snakes than anything else, as even today snake attacks are a major cause of death. In some indigenous groups, you might be wondering, how did mammals survive this mess? Well, they were just as wild. Look no further than Thylacoleo. This beast was the biggest mammal predator in Australia. Most were the size of a wild boar, but the largest ones matched female lions and tigers. But it wasn't a cat. It was a marsupial, closer to a koala than a lion. And like koalas, it had a small brain, but that helped it, because the space was used for strong muscles and solid bones, giving it the strongest bite of any known mammal for its size. A medium Thylacoleo could bite as hard as a lion, 2.5 times bigger. It could kill prey 15 times heavier than itself, thanks to its strange teeth, which looked like huge canines and blade-shaped molars. These worked together to pierce deep into the body, then slice windpipes, spines, and arteries, killing animals fast in under a minute, while lions take 15 minutes or more. And if the bite didn't work, it had claws, retractable claws on semi-opposable thumbs, which it could move around to strike. They were curved too, helping it climb trees, and maybe even drag dead prey up with it. It also used those claws to move through caves and rocky terrain. This thing was no joke. And if you think prey animals were safer, think again. To survive predators like these, even herbivores had to level up. Just look at the Diprotodon, a giant marsupial related to wombats, except way bigger. Some weighed up to 3.85 tons, the size of an adult Asian elephant. This helped them avoid being hunted, and they had a strong bite too. Despite only eating plants, their back teeth could bite down with 11,000 newtons of force, strong enough to crush a human leg bone. But it wasn't just mammals. Birds were massive too, especially the Genyornis. This bird looked like the deadly terror birds, but it was part of a different family, thunderbirds. Even though it looked scary, it likely ate plants. Still, it was huge. The average one was 2 meters tall, taller than most humans, and it weighed over 250 kilograms. If that didn't scare off predators, its beak and claws could do the job. By now, you've probably realized ancient Australia was the last place you'd want to visit. And here's the kicker. Most of today's dangerous Aussie animals were already there. Plus others we haven't even talked about, like giant turtles, and more crocodile relatives like Palomnarchus. And let's not forget the brutal environment, with harsh droughts everywhere. And yet, humans survived. Not just survived, they thrived. They hunted many of the megabeasts mentioned here, which might mean we were actually the scariest predator of them all. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Anthrowild.